afternoon, everyone. I saw many absence in assignments, so I extended the last assignment's deadline. This was not an assignment, it was an in-class task. Thesis statement, we were practicing thesis statement. And if you do not submit, then definitely the other classmate cannot comment or give a feedback because it's a peer review task. So I extended it, extended as in not the due date, because many of you have already submitted. I extended the visibility of the task in Canvas so you can access it. Even if it's a late submission, I'm okay with it. So it's until Saturday, last class, whatever we practiced in last class, and the task that was supposed to be finished by today, including peer review. So
By the thesis?
thesis statement, yeah, that's what the task. And I commented on the submissions. So far, whatever I've got till today morning, I checked and suggested a few improvements. Just one of the most common one was the length of thesis statement. That's one aspect. Many of you have written 3-4 sentences, and then it almost becomes an abstract. There's a huge difference with abstract and thesis statement. So thesis statement is more a precise version. I understand the difficulty to precise it in a very short way. Do not consider me as a reader. I might not understand the content. That's why you might consider that should I explain the topic and the context more. So do not consider me your reader, rather consider the subject that you're writing about. And the thesis statement should not be the abstract size, so precise it. Do not extend more than 3 sentences. 2 is usually that's what we see. Yes, we introduce the topic and then we make our comment, but do not give a background that we'll get also in an abstract and also in introduction, right? So today we'll talk about flow. And again, I'll come back to this thesis statement, not today, later on, next week. And I'll give you the opportunity to edit this statement, maintaining a flow. If there is a better flow, you don't want to edit that, that's okay. So we'll learn about how we maintain flow and what are the features in any sentence or paragraph to maintain flow. Before we move on to the technicalities, my question to all of you is, have we watched, I know I have given too much videos possibly for this week, I understand. If you haven't, that's totally cool. You can watch it within this week, I hope. But I need to know, could we watch it?
Yes.
All of those?
No.
Okay, can I ask how many videos are left or which one you...
I don't know how much left. I saw 4.
4? There was more than 4?
Yes.
6? Yes, too much. Pardon for that. Yeah, but I mean, I designed it whatever was needed based on that.
Yeah, I just didn't have time.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I expected it. That was pretty common. So everyone watched the others. So all of you watched the 6 videos? Yeah. So most of us couldn't watch it, right? Gotcha. So next thing is, whenever you'll watch it, I'm pretty sure. So let's talk about this. Any writing theory has many theories, has many alternative perspectives even. So whenever we talk about flow, so let's say I have picked the 3 easy, discussable, and applicable areas to maintain flow. That also this book talks about. That's our textbook. But in the video, I added a different theory of maintaining and developing flow, which is a very advanced strategy to execute and might be difficult to understand. And you might have plenty of queries, and that might seem incomprehensible to you that I do not understand what the video is speaking, even though the video shows you examples. Anyone can guess what I'm talking about? Which one? Cohesion and coherence, that one? Okay, up to you. I mean, I don't know which one you find incomprehensible or difficult. If you think so, yeah. but often in this course, the response that I got is the rhetorical moves video. There was a video of rhetorical moves that talks about grounding, forwarding. Anyone watch that video? Yeah.
There's no background of the picture, so I think like there's something background, some kind of background information.
Rhetorical moves. So you'll see they in this video they shared the screen and there is a paper, line by line, sentence by sentence.
Oh yeah,
they
I
read.
remember. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's the mark which is grounding, and even grounding there are 3-4 steps. And even in forwarding there are 3 more rules. So that's a total different theory. Not the theory that usually we follow for this course, but I always added to give you a different perspective, an advanced level of perspective of maintaining flow. Today's discussion is about flow. I expected usually even people watch it and many might find it difficult to understand. So right now I added a link also, a university link, not a YouTube video. A link where they are talking about definitions and examples. Just see if you can see the link right now. I'm not telling you to read it right now. But what I expect, after watching the video and after reading this website, the academic site that I've just shared, in the same module, watch these videos in the same canvas, same place.
Yeah, this is
We all got
how
it?
to write a thesis statement.
It's a pre-class task. Watch these videos. Yes.
3 types of.
Yes, correct. This is the link I shared right now. Yeah. So what I'm expecting, that's a total different theory. What I'm trying to say, if you do not mind, we have a free service. If you have one-on-one query, feel free to take that. We call it EAP tutoring sessions. So let's say writing is not limited to only this book. I agree. Whatever out of this book we might have to deal with, feel free to book a session with me. One-on-one, we can discuss of examples, argue, debate. You have more queries, place them. Shoot at it. Gotcha?
What is this name of this?
EAP tutoring session? You can just Google it. EAP tutoring session, write Notre Dame so that it doesn't take you to other university sites. Yeah. So, book sessions, I have my tutoring slots free on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There you can ask, I don't understand what is grounding. Now that's not part of this course plan, that's why I'm saying it. Whatever is part of this course plan, we'll deal in class. But there might be things in your paper or in the reference materials I shared that you're not getting it. Book a session and let's have a discussion on that. Not in the class, maybe, then in the EAP tutoring sessions. Gotcha? And if you think you understood everything with the site and the video, you don't need to. If you don't feel it, you don't need to then. And if you have any query, just feel free to do that. Did you get it, David? So, and there it's a 30-minute session, one-on-one, so we can have plenty of discussions. And it's not like it has to be 30 minutes. You can book multiple sessions. One session must be 30 minutes because that's how it is designed. If you want 2 sessions a week, that's also possible.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the website language. How can I book a tutoring session?
Yeah, that's what I even showed in the first class.
Which website?
So, the website that pays me, Notre Dame, CSLC, my office. So, this is where we go
Yeah.
when we go peer tutoring, whatever, book a tutor, not peer, EAP.
There is also yeah,
EAP, that's mine.
that is tutoring.
Yeah, that's mine, or whatever.
You
Where is
have
it?
to link it, yeah, the tab right there.
There's a book.
That
Book
EAP tutoring.
So it is possible to bring the scientific paper, read it together.
Yeah, definitely. In 30 minutes, I'm all yours. That's the bottom line. In Zoom.
In Zoom?
Yeah, it's not in person. It has to be in Zoom.
Yeah.
So it has the schedule. If you want multiple tutors, that's also possible. Multiple tutor as in not at the same time. Other tutors have their own schedule, different times. Let's say you want to book someone else. Whoever is available, the slots are available there. And sometimes we read the same or edit the same paper together. Together as in, let's say I'm consulting a student. It doesn't mean my student cannot go to other tutor. You know what I mean? Because everyone has different perspectives about writing. So let's say when you go to someone else, another faculty, she might give you different insights, might have different observations. That's okay. So we usually, and right now we have 3 tutors for EAP. And you can book with any of them. Yeah, I'm there. My boss is there, Julia, and Cindy, another colleague. She's also there. I don't know if they have anyone else remotely working or not. I'm not sure about that.
But because sometimes as a foreign student who's not native in English, find difficulty understanding scientific paper. Like I come across a paper called Competition and Selection Among Convention, which is the topic itself. A nightmare to understand.
Gotcha.
So what does it mean? Competition and selection among convention. Convention is a tradition.
Yeah, have you uploaded that in the perusal?
No.
Is it your paper?
No, it's outside paper. It's in my paper.
No, I know, it's a scholarly paper.
Right.
Yeah, let's discuss that when we discuss scholarly articles. You can upload it in perusal or you can email it to me. Yeah, sure, you can have it. And that'd be cool. So, as I was saying, you can have multiple consultations with multiple tutors. So let's get back to flow. Today we'll discuss what is old to new progression, how we provide the old information first, and then we maintain a flow by moving on to new information. And what happens if we do the opposite? What if we introduce a sentence with with new terms? And then is it difficult for readers to understand or not? That's what we're going to see. Transitions, we already know a little bit, maybe what kind of transition signals, discourse markers and linkers we use. We'll do something on transitions too. And punctuations are also used for flow, whether semicolons mostly. So the difference when we use semicolons, comma, that's a different topic though. When we literally talk about punctuations, like there are other punctuations like colon, we have a separate class on punctuations. So I'll not be focusing much on semicolons today, just I'm letting you know when we talk about flow, punctuations are a part of it. But mostly today we'll focus on old to new progression and transitions. And when semicolon is actually, it will be discussed in that particular lesson when we'll be having punctuations. So how we maintain flow when we talk about old to new progression, there's 3 steps. We repeat the keywords. We use demonstrative adjectives like this, that, it. We use pronouns. Let's have an example. Some particles are elusive. And in the next sentence, when I'm writing such particles, so I'm repeating the keyword, if the keyword is the particle. Now it's a pretty simple sentence, that's why it's pretty easy to understand, but when we'll have longer sentence, we'll see tougher examples. Demonstrative adjectives, for instance. An important custom in Ethiopian culture is the coffee ceremony. This is often practiced every Sunday, so we are using a demonstrative adjective. That maintains the flow. It connects with the previous sentence. Pronoun we all know very well. So a veil covers the woman's head and often much of her face. She may also choose to wear a mask that shows only her eyes. So we use a pronoun that connects to the previous sentence. Now, this particular passage. Let's have a look at this passage. Anyone who'd like to read it out loud? This is about old to new information. Please go ahead.
Farmers try to provide optimal growing conditions for crops by using soil additives to adjust soil pH.
Yeah, period. The reason I marked it, many of us might not know soil pH. So this is new to us. Right? Next sentence. Yeah, please go.
Garden land limestone. It's made for pulverized chalk and can be used to raise the pH of the soil.
Good. And the next?
Clay soil, which is naturally acidic,
Mm.
often requires the addition of agricultural, is it lime? Is that lime?
Yeah, line, agricultural line. Correct. Now, just the same thing written in a different way in the next slide. And someone else would like to read it out loud. Then we'll compare the both. Someone else?
Farmers try to provide optimal growing conditions for crops by using soil additives to adjust soil pH. One way to raise the pH of the soil is additives made from pulverized chalk called garden lime or agricultural limestone. Agricultural limestone is often added to naturally acid soil such as clay soil.
Now let's have a discussion. What difference do you see? Which one you like and why? The difference, technically we can see clay soil is here used in the end,
Yeah.
right? But in the previous, we see a sentence started with clay soil. In this sentence, in this passage, we see they ended with soil pH and the next sentence connected it. One way to raise the pH of the soil. So when we see this as a subject, we don't get a barricade. We already have in the back of our mind the information because of the previous sentence ended with it.
But I think we don't need to repeat the main keyword again. We can say
Pronoun.
Yeah, one way to raise it, for example, is to
Good.
yeah, right?
Correct. Now, the point is, let's see this one's. Here, every sentence started with a new subject. And that's why I would say, seemed a little disconnected. First sentence, farmers try to do whatever. The second sentence, garden lime is the subject. Third sentence, clay soil is the subject. So every sentence has a different subject. Then you are making it difficult for the readers to understand the flow. That's also known as cohesion. Coherence is the logical progression between paragraphs. Cohesion is within one paragraph, the linguistic flow that you maintain. The language, the subject, the parts of speech, the way it moves. That's cohesion. Now we'll see more examples from the book. Let's go to this page. Page 41. Linkers are also added with it. The list of linkers are pretty obvious when you need to use moreover, in addition, furthermore, or on the other hand, this list is fixed. That's why I'm not giving a lecture on it. This list is fixed. I mean, it's not like lecture will resolve it. You have to know the words and the way it is used, when to use but and when to use and. So that's pretty obvious. But we'll practice a little bit. Let's see if I have it in per usual. Page 41 in the book, task 19. From here, we can see it. the chapter of flow starts. Right now we will do task 19, which is
It's there. I mean,
where is that?
it's more than the much more down. More.
Oh yes, 41.
Somewhere there.
Yeah, got. We can do only A. B is already done for you in the PDF. And it's fill up the gap with linkers, but we'll also talk about flow. Any pronoun or demonstrative adjectives used or not. Keywords repeated or not. That just we discuss right now. But the filling the gaps are linkers or transition signals. It's very short. 2-3 gaps maybe. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once done, we'll share with our teammates. There are 4 gaps.
There's no option, right?
No, whatever you feel like.
Uh,
And actually, it's not like multiple options are correct here. Linkers like this. done.
Yeah, almost.
You can share once you're done. Your, you formal group?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what kind of what what do is it those more when you're trying to show contrast or when you're trying to do the I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know why you thought it was gold. Maybe it says that it's gold. Did you guys
Not done?
Yeah, it makes sense.
More time?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. You should only
Only
write,
task 19. I mean this A.
you should only write the keyword without the comma, right?
Like
Without
with the previous one.
Yeah.
You get it mentions
The word that
I'm just using the blank.
without the comma.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Well, because comma is already there.
Exactly, so we don't need to add the comma.
No.
Okay, that's good.
Yes. It's already there.
That's right.
We'll take one more minute and then discuss together with the class.
I mean, there was one that was isn't like dots and the last one.
Yeah.
And you say like the previous one. You're good at it. You're good. I have two. They have one, and the one that I have. Which would you have? Which would you have there? For the previous, yeah, which would you have? However, yeah, I thought about however, but it didn't make sense. It didn't sound like, I don't know.
Let's get back. So my first observation before we begin, like the previous passage in the slide, we saw the soil pH, and then it described agricultural limestone and clay soil. In the end, the kind of two different passages we saw, and the way we make subjects or nouns, or head nouns, we call it. So if we start with OCB, for instance, it will be difficult for any new reader to understand what is OCB. But when we start, it has long been documented that individuals in an organization may voluntarily carry out tasks that are part of their regular jobs. So we all have done jobs in our life, and I guess we all have done this. Something extra voluntarily we did, that's not part of my job. Yeah, we all are used to this term, not the term, but the task, OCB, right? So it's regular job duties. Now it's easy to understand what they're gonna discuss. Blank, individuals may go above and beyond the call of duty to help co-workers, prevent problems. Now they are giving, or the writer or the writers are giving a list of options, right? Prevent problems, volunteer to stay late, help co-workers, blah, blah, blah. So what would be the best linker here, you think? They haven't introduced the term yet, OCB. The term they will introduce in the end to maintain the flow. That's what we call old to new progression. The same thing we saw in the passage in the slide also.
I would use indeed, but I use too much times indeed, so I don't think it's the best choice. Yeah.
Anyone else? Let's see what other.
Discuss the as result and
Yeah.
for example.
For example.
We have multiple options from one group.
I
So indeed,
yeah,
for example,
as a result.
as a result,
Ortho.
Passive.
3 of them. Okay,
Ortho. This. Ortho.
one or
Ortho.
all of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry,
These individuals.
but there's a comma.
Yeah, that's why my mistake is there.
Double subjects.
Yeah.
These are individual two subjects.
Let's see from that group. I missed it. Sorry. Go ahead.
That is.
Sorry.
That is.
Oh, that is. Oh, so as I just explained, there's a list that you're giving after you're defining the thing. So the best suitable, I would say, they're giving examples when they mean voluntarily carry out tasks. And what are the examples? Staying late at office, helping co-workers. So they're giving a list of examples. And there's a comma also that we use after for example. Yeah. Bravo. For example is actually, anyone has objection with for example. Why we cannot use for example?
Well, I guess as a result it works, yeah. Because it's result of the work. So if you want to voluntarily do those things, individual maybe.
As a result is a cause and effect thing.
Yeah.
But there is no cause and effect here. This is not an action and the result. It's rather saying voluntarily carry out tasks that are part of my regular jobs.
This is not
For
the
instance, I mean, it's saying, for instance, we do this, we do that,
Yeah.
but it's not a result. You know, it's saying the list. It's explaining actually the previous sentence. What do we mean by voluntarily carry out tasks? What do we mean by that, voluntarily carry out tasks? So it's giving actually you instances. By voluntarily carry out tasks, the writer meant this. The next one. This behavior, before we move on to that, a demonstrative adjective. That's how we maintain flow. This behavior is intended to help others. That's a nice flow when we use demonstrative adjective. The next sentence, period, and then we need a linker. Let me scroll down a little. Yep. Anyone? Group? This group? Definitely, I'm expecting multiple options.
I chose more often.
Okay, it's better to discuss all the options. That's how we grow. You have any other option, or you agree with the two of them, or any two of them?
It was or even though.
Though, I mean the
Though.
the genre of though. You have any other possibility option?
It was hard.
Although Nice. So only we have one.
I withdraw my answer.
You withdraw your answer because everyone said, "Oh, no. We should discuss why moreover is not fit in. If moreover is not fitting in." Let's read. It is recognized that OCB is important for an organization to effectively function. There is debate among researchers as how OCB can be encouraged and rewarded. So when we use though or although, when we place contradictory statements with a comma that contradicts or saying the opposite in the later one. For instance, although it is recognized that OCB is important, there is a debate. Now you got the answer? The way although is structured. Moreover is structured if we add something similar,
Right.
not contradiction.
Despite.
Also represents contradiction, right?
Well, connected with the previous sentence.
Yeah, but here there's a comma and there's a new subject. There is a debate. You're moving to a new direction, changing the topic, the debate. That means there are problems with OCB also. Doing such voluntary tasks, people might start exploiting us. That also we have experienced possibly. The next one. Most OCB research has focused on Western cultures, semicolon, blank. Whether these research findings can be extended to other cultures is not clear. Dash, suggesting a need to investigate OCB as it exists in other cultures, particularly those described as collectivist. Let's do these two together.
We can do the first one.
The first one, please go ahead. Okay. So, however, whether these research findings, another group might have different suggestions.
First one is however, second one therefore, hence.
Okay.
We have however and which.
Okay.
Do we have however?
We have in fact, and last one would be thus.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't however.
So let's see. Let's. We all discuss why we used however. Whoever used however, let's.
Comma and say
Yeah.
before and after. So however come between them.
Anyone who'd like to? Yes.
They're saying that they did a lot of research and then saying that it's contradictory to what.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you to these two groups. That group, would you like to share?
Well,
Why
however-
used however? Go ahead. Say the same reasons.
Well, however, it needs to have another comparison. However, you want to go or not, we will go. But I think but is the suitable one.
Usually in academic writing, when we use however, which can be used in two ways, let me say, you can use a capital H and start a sentence with however, or you can use a semicolon and start however. That's another point. Second topic, discussion of this usage of however is we talk about the gap when we use however. We are getting to the point. The background discussion is done. We are getting to the point. So when we use however, that means we are getting to the point. Whether these research findings can be extended is not. Now what the topic is, that's what they're suggesting. And they're ending this passage with the kind of the thesis statement. What their point is. Their point is not what is OCB to explain that to us and what are the examples of OCB. That's not the point. The point is the existence of OCB in other cultures or not, it exists or not. That's the point they're talking about. So when you talk about the topic, you use a linker to the transition signal is kind of driving you from the background to the topic. Then you use however. We got it?
Yeah, say however in the introduction, the scientific, when you read the scientific paper.
Yeah.
This is however, I think it's an abstract all the time. Or
In introduction, we see it in abstract also possibly. Mostly in introduction. We'll read a complete passage today to understand however. And about the last one, thus is correct if you are using hence, that's also makes sense. That group, maybe I've used something else. Then we need an auxiliary, which is suggesting. But if we do not have an auxiliary, then this becomes the subject. So thus suggesting or hence suggesting is also used. But if we use WH word, we have to use an auxiliary verb grammatically. Make sense? So thus suggesting a need to investigate OCB as it exists in other cultures. You all are convinced? Any
Thus
question?
and hence are good.
Yeah, can be used in both this case.
I think hence, after hence we should have a comma, right? Hence,
I think so.
I think so.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
Nice point.
so yeah, it's not.
And we don't have that comma.
Yeah, exactly.
Thus is the only answer.
Mhm.
Thank you.
We can add a comment.
So we can.
If you can add a comma, it's grammatically correct. But for this particular sentence, yes. Yeah. Well said. Yeah, you can add a comma.
Okay.
And hence can be used also. Actually, the usage of hence and thus we see in the same pattern and manner. Yeah. But as there is no comma, we can take only one answer, thus. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Now let's move to a passage where we will. Page 3, I'll add that page here. 329 of the book. We'll not do the task. We'll just go there and I'll need to speak something before we do the task.
That's 29, 21.
Okay, yes, this is the page number. 329. You'll see a passage there. But before we talk about that passage, task 1 is task 1 of that unit. I need to say something. That something is, I need the laser, that's enough. So let's have a look at these 3 moves that, as we just have talked about, however, that we see in introduction. In introduction, when we start a topic, writing a topic, we have 3 moves. So now, when we'll read this passage in task 1, from this book, we'll try to identify these 3 moves and where do they exist. In which sentence? Which sentences, or from which to which? The first 10 are move 1, and where is move 2 then? In the 14th sentence, 20th sentence, whatever. And where is move 3? Now, what are these 3 moves? The first move we call when we mention the background. When we give a background introduction within the introduction chapter. And then we have the next move we call niche, where we mention the gap. And the third move, I have maybe said these 3 moves, we talked about it earlier also, when we occupy the gap. And that's the total structure of introduction. In introduction, actually, these 3 moves are expected. If any of these are missing, the whole flow will be chaotic. You mention the background, you mention the gap, you tell them how you're occupying the gap. Now, what we just submitted in the last class, this is statement, and I have commented in many submissions too, add your purpose statement, maybe. In move 3, you would see purpose statement. What this paper is proposing, how this paper will fill up that gap. We'll see examples from this passage before we move on. About move 2, I have 4 points to discuss. When I'm saying mentioning the gap, so what do I mean? What kind of gaps we can possibly mention in move 2? So there are 4 kinds of gaps. And that's also mentioned from this book, page 348. So the gap could be counterclaim, which is a strong claim. Means something that you said or something that previous researchers said, you found a major flaw in that. You have a strong claim, which is a counterclaim. You're countering someone's knowledge or some innovations or some law or some rules or whatever theories you're talking about. Or it could be you're indicating a gap in the existing knowledge. Whatever exists is not wrong, but there is a gap. maybe that theory or that philosophy is not applicable in all contexts, in all years, in all regions, in all places, for all ages, for all gender. You are mentioning about a particular gap. Or you're raising a question that could be a gap also. Or you are continuing a tradition. So whatever exists is fine. You innovating something new with that continuation. It's not you are claiming that whatever exists was wrong, that particular topic, or it's not there's a gap there. You're maybe talking about something new. So that's move two. There could be 4 kinds of move two. When we talk about move two, we're talking about niche or gap. So whenever we are saying gap, we do not only mean gap. We also mean counterclaim. We literally mean gap. We mean also raising a question on the existing knowledge, or we continue a tradition. 4 kinds of gaps we see. Cool? Now let's read this passage together and discuss with the group. We'll maintain the same group today. Task 1. And when we read this passage, there are 17 sentences.
How we can reach the book again?
By having the book.
Another option.
Yeah, but if you have the hard copy, or let me add it for you. So this is going to be page 329, which is here. We just discussed this page. Move 1, 2, and 3. And this is our task. You all can access it, I guess. Task 1. This is the task 1. So in that box, if you just write 341, it will directly take you to this page. You don't have to scroll up and down. And at the end of the passage, you'd see there's a question as in not question, you have to identify. So what is sentence 1 and 2? Move 1 or 2. What is sentence 3 to 13? Move 1 or 2 or 3. That's it. You'll just write or discuss, move 1, 2, 3. That's what you have to identify, nothing else. Okay? Any confusion, questions? We will only identify move 1, 2, or 3 in the 17 sentences. And from now on, whatever we will read, we'll also try to look at the linkers, old to new progression, demonstrative adjectives, how we maintain flow in these passages. We need to carefully look at those transitions so that we can also subconsciously naturally use when we write something.
How you can control using the transitions too much, because in IELTS exam they have mentioned something around that.
We cannot overuse it. It's not like in every sentence you have to use a transition. That's why transition signals are not the only way you use a transition. You use pronouns, demonstrative adjectives.
Yeah, other options.
There are other options. That's what you have to use. Otherwise, it would look very odd if you use in every sentence a transition.
Yeah.
And one question that I'll ask to all of the groups, which is not mentioned in this task, that we have multiple howevers here. So which however defines move to and why?
Which however what?
We have multiple howevers here, but as I just said, however mentions the gap. Move to. Now which however is move to
Is
and why? If you're done reading, then share with your mates. There are more than 3-4 howevers maybe, right?
What?
3-4 howevers in this passage.
Yeah. But you said like there's one however that shows the gap.
I don't know that.
Okay.
If you think one however shows that gap, then why? And if it's not however something else here,
Okay.
we can discuss that too. Not necessarily it's only however that will show you the gap. Because they have used several howevers here.
So,
So what is the first 1, 2, 3 or not one? I mean, this introduction.
But no, they are good. I'm like, I also can see 3 and 13, sentence 6 to 13, to be like the authors explaining the fact in the research. Like a little review, so that's background and that's not two. That is the background or that is the new two, which is the gap. Background.
Finish a lot of portions of these ideas. Yeah, percent. The beginning, all the transition to this 1%, provide background into this research, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, in my opinion, sentence number 16, there's the two.
16, I was thinking about that, but
Then
then
they provide a big gap.
I thought
Issues and problems, and then,
It's not, has not been, investigated.
but then like the move 3 is the purpose of statement, which it defines what this research is kind of about. Which is
Yeah,
like
which is
saying-
78.
17 is pretty simple.
But isn't like purpose of statement just one line?
Purpose statement is very easy to understand. It will say directly what's the purpose. This paper examines, discovers, explores, reveals, whatever.
So that's the
So,
so 16.
1 to 15, actually, backward. That's not the.
I was thinking that.
Too much.
Background, yeah.
That's what makes it. This is hard. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it has to. I need to. No, I did not. Did you do it? You did. Okay, I need to do mine so they can choose comment. Okay, I will submit. I have a
We added it to the midterm, so it's.
Are we done? We just move 1, 2, and 3, identifying which sentence or which to which. We can talk, share? Let's share. So, I hope you already have seen. I'm standing here because so that I can highlight things. So let's say we find demonstrative adjectives. This is because, right, we have lots of howevers. Now, I'll just reflect on this few usage of howevers like this. For instance, however, previous research, however, other research, however, suggests that. So the structure of this particular passage or essay is, it talks about, thank you. So it's actually counterclaiming, bringing previous context and rejecting it.
Yeah.
It's bringing a context and rejecting again. That's why multiple howevers we see, right? So let's say move 1 until which sentence you see move 1? The backgrounds. let's not go to line by line. Let's just directly jump. Which sentence you think is the last for move 1? The last sentence for move 1. This group, please.
So we thought that it was until.
No, you are that.
So some of us thought it was until
All
line
of us.
13, others until line 15, and one just sentences 1 and 2.
Ultimately.
Okay.
Just one.
Other groups, please.
Oh,
So until sentence 15, you are saying move 1, right? Okay, this group. Any?
Line 13.
Until line 13. Okay.
13.
13. So my question to these groups who think that until line 13 we have move 1. So where is move 2?
14 to 16.
Okay, so technically that's also correct if you think. But if you have to pick one sentence, then which one will you pick?
4, 2.
Yeah?
Um, 16. Yes.
In that case, move 1 will be 1 to 15.
15.
And definitely, we're not arguing that move 1 is not connected to move 2. There will be connections, there will be connecting sentence based on data, transitions, and all that. So I would go for that. If I have to pick one sentence, it's actually 16 that's mentioning the gap. Because it directly says, and it doesn't use however, by the way. Although previous research has examined this and that, research has not investigated something. So there is a huge gap where you are not using hedging. Hedging as in being little objective. You're directly accusing this was not done. So it's a huge missing thing you are mentioning. So that's the gap, exact gap. Something has not been investigated. And as I just said, move 3 starts with the primary aim of the present research. You will see this kind of phrases in move 3. And about move 3, purpose statement, I would like to offer you all who submitted or didn't submit their thesis statements to edit the thesis statement, not right now, by this weekend, based on the usage of demonstrative adjectives. Old to new progression, old information first, and terms, technical terms later in the sentence. Many of us have used technical terms, I have seen. So is there any possible to shift that or to precise it or make such changes and end with a purpose statement? The last sentence, like this, end with a purpose statement in your thesis statement that you already submitted. Do edit that. Okay? That's one task for this weekend. No new task for this weekend. Now we'll work more on move 2 because we have confusions maybe. This was one kind of move 2. We'll have a look at a few more examples on move 2. For instance, if you go to page, was that page? Page 348. 348 in this same book, so just after a few pages, that means that you'd see task 12. You all could go there. 11. Yes, correct.
That's 12.
Task 12? Yes. And if you type in that box 361, it will directly take you to that page. 361. So now here we have sentences, and all of these are move 2 sentences.
I think we don't have access to this page. We should extend the access, I think, the range.
You should have, this is the same.
But it's the same thing we're using.
Sure.
If you could access the previous page, what we have just done, yeah. Just type 361, whatever pages we were earlier in the same file, in the same section of per user. Here we have how many examples? Maybe 7, 10 examples of move 2. 8 examples of move 2. Now, what we will do, which one is A, which one is B, which one is C, and which one is D. That's what we'll figure out. We'll read these 8 move to sentences that mentions gap. Now, what kind of gap it mentions? Is it raising a question? Is it continuing a tradition? Is it indicating a gap? Or is it counterclaim? A, B, C, D. Instructions clear? And then we can do it together as in group wise. You don't need to do it individually.
What is this ABCD?
Here you can see on screen that I just have shared in my slide also. So there are 4 kinds of move to. So which move to you can see here in these sentences? Counterclaim, indicating a gap, raising a question, or continuing a tradition. We're done? Are you done discussing among yourselves also? Cool. That's it. So number 1, this finding suggests that number of co-authors might affect the self-citation rate. What do you think?
D.
Anyone? Let's go a little up. So you said we have 2 answers we got, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get 2 answers the same. D.
D. This group says D. Any other?
C.
C. That group also says C.
3D.
Oh, your response is D. Now, why you think it's D and why you think it's C? I'm not giving my answer right now.
It's still guessing first.
I said D.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, why?
Because
It's a continuing something?
Yeah. One of us here said D, and he's. It's adding something, so these findings suggest. So it's continuing. This is.
This finding as in the paper. The paper is suggesting that the existing knowledge is raising questions that affect the self-citation rate. It's not accepting.
Oh, okay. This finding.
It's not accepting. The new finding is not accepting. It's, I would say it's C. It's raising a question on the existing knowledge. Right? Affect means a negative impact. The next one, however, in all three cases, we have a direct word flawed. So it's counterclaim A. I guess.
Yeah.
When you see this kind of words, let's just cut it short, like flawed or false assumptions.
Yeah.
These are direct words, which is a counterclaim. If you want to talk about D, I mean, continuing a tradition, then I would say, anyone would say, there are two examples here.
For D.
Yeah, for D.
Why?
Perfect. Fine, yes.
Yeah.
Correct, 8. Because 5 and 8, you would see, it would be therefore interesting to have further information. So that's D, continuing a tradition.
What about 7?
7, they have used false assumptions, so it's a counterclaim.
Oh,
Yeah.
When they have directly used the word about the gap. So that's counterclaim A. 8, also, there is obviously value in extending these studies. So they're accepting the present studies, but suggesting to move on and add further information to it. 5 and 8. We all agree?
Yeah.
About D? What about, what's B? Raising a question? Or indicating a gap? Which one is B, you think?
Something
3, they mention a gap, correct, has been neglected. Something has been neglected. That's a gap. Another?
6.
Okay, someone said 4. 4 is raising a question because they literally use a question.
Or a question, yeah.
yes.
Someone said a 4. I mean, no, not you. I don't mean you. I'm sorry. I was looking at
It's
everyone.
wrong answer. It's.
No, never. I'm sorry, pardon me. I don't mean that. Yeah. So that's what raising a question is.
Destroy myself, Steve.
Huh? I was looking for from where the question came. I didn't mean that. Pardon me. 6 is this. 6, where we talk about the gap. Little is known.
So something missing.
Something is missing.
Yeah.
So we are done with all the 8. Cool. So that's move 2. And I'm not adding new assignments for this week. Rather, if you can have a look at the board, I would request all of you. If you haven't watched the videos, please do. If there is any due, please complete. Edit the thesis statement, add your purpose statement. And by edit, I mean, if there is flow maintained, fine, you don't need to change anything. If you think after today's class, you can change a few things, subjects, head nouns, then please do. Okay? And rhetorical moves, that's a different theory to develop flow. If you think you need help in that, if you think the videos and links are not enough, you can book EAP slots. Make sense? These are the 3 things. Perfect. See you in the next class.